Hi loves, and welcome to Love What Luck. Now, as a chronically indecisive person, I have decided this week that it is time for me to start trusting myself and my decision making more. I had a conversation with my therapist the other week just about this. She basically said that I don't trust myself, and I don't know if you guys feel the same, but what she said afterwards was really interesting because she asked me, what's your decision making like when you order food? And guys, if you know me, you will know I am an absolute nightmare when it comes to ordering food. I'm on some serious when Sadie Maltby shit. Like, the panic that comes over me when I am waiting to order something is hell on earth. If I go to a restaurant or a bakery even without a clear idea in my mind beforehand of what I want, it's an absolute nightmare. And it's so ridiculous, but I just can't seem to help it. But if you can relate to any of this, then I'm sure this episode's going to be very helpful for you. But the other week, right, perfect example, I went to a bakery and they had all these amazing croissants and pastries, and there was a queue out the door, right? So I knew that they were going to be good. As soon as I stepped out of the car and I'm in the back of the queue now, right? I'm right in the back. From that moment on, I'm panicking because I'm thinking, when I get to the front, I'm going to have to tell this woman what I want. And I don't know what I want, and I may never know. What was also stressing me out is that I couldn't see the menu beforehand. So I was only going visual, and obviously I was far away. You know, I couldn't see everything. And that's another thing I think that affects decision making. For me, I need and want to see everything before making the decision. I'm not the type of person that can just go, make a decision and be happy with it without seeing other things first. And I remember a quote before, it was like on a podcast I was listening to. Somebody said that one of the biggest sources of unhappiness is a person that goes into a shop, finds a jumper they like, but rather than just buying the jumper, they leave, go around all the other shops first to see if there's anything better there, and then go back and decide whether to get it or not. That is me. Versus a happy person, somebody who trusts themselves, somebody who is content, can go into a shop, see something they like, they can just buy it. Guys, are any of you this person? If you are, please come and shed some light, because I could never. And like when I was going to this bakery place, but this is like anywhere I go with food, it's constant panic in my head of what if I make the wrong decision and what if I'm disappointed. And I don't know why I fear disappointment so much. I've had plenty of it in my life. But there's just this panic that I'm going to order something and not enjoy it, or worse ever, have food envy. And, you know, I think in this day and age, it's especially hard for us because we're constantly comparing ourselves to other things and other people because it's in our face all the time. Reality TV is massive, social media, obviously, like everywhere we turn, basically, even with your friends, to be fair, you know, it's natural that you end up comparing things. And I feel like sometimes that I've lost my sense of like, what do I actually like and enjoy, and how can I just trust myself in choosing something and being happy with that, and not picking something and then, you know, coming home and change my mind. And obviously, like at the minute I'm on about just like food and things that don't really matter, even though they cause me great distress. But obviously it goes deeper, whereas like if you were trying to make a life decision about a job, a relationship, you really need to trust yourself and be so happy with the decisions you make, because otherwise I think it's much more harmful than I ever realised. Like, and obviously as I was talking to my therapist about it does make complete sense, because if you want to make a decision to get into a relationship with somebody and then somebody else says, look, I don't think that's the right decision. If you are not happy, content, confident in your decision, and if you don't really trust yourself and what you want, you can be so easily swayed by people, and then they can put other stuff in your head, and then you end up feeling like you haven't made the right decision, and you're just making it almost worse for yourself. But I definitely overthink my decisions a lot, way too much. even like when I'm ordering food, I really have to delve into it. Well, kind of anything really. And I do find it helpful, but I close my eyes and I try and picture my decision unfolding. So sometimes if I want to order something, I'm really big on textures. So I'll close my eyes and I'm like, do I want a crunch? Do I want something soft? And then like, if I'm picturing like Way to Live or something, like something a bit much more serious, I close my eyes and I'm like, okay. And I really try and picture myself there, which is a really good thing to do. I think like a visual thing is very strong. But do I need to be doing that when I'm trying to pick between a Kinder Bueno pastry and a ham and cheese croissant? No, I don't. I don't need to go into that much depth. And I think really all that stuff, the visualization, all the overthinking, all of that happens in our heads. Like we all overthink stuff, I'm sure. But really, I think where the decision making needs to come from is your intuition. And as I've said many times, I always believe that your gut just knows and your intuition just knows. I feel like subconsciously, deep down, we know. We already know what we want, and it's really just trusting yourself enough to listen to it and to make the jump and not let the fear and overthinking of your mind get into you and affect your confidence in the decision. Because going back and forth and stuff, it's just hell on earth. I was speaking to my friend Amelia yesterday and we were chatting about stuff. And I was like, the only way I can describe what I'm going through is if I give you a visual. And I videoed myself and I was like, I feel like I'm here. This is me. This is my life going about every day. And then I was like, but here's the decision. And he just looms to the left of me like a shadow. And he sits and eats dinner with me. He was watching the Kardashians with me last night. He's just there in the background. And he's like, yeah, are we going to make a decision on that? And it's like, I probably already know what I need to do. But for some reason, I don't listen to it quite yet. I'm, afraid or I'm overthinking stuff. So I go about my life and he just looms in the background. What I've also noticed is when I'm in a really good place, like a good, happy, confident, content place, I don't question my decisions so much. Yesterday, right? And now I don't know if this goes hand in hand, but just a little example. Yesterday, I had a really good day. I got up, I went to Pilates, I got my nails done, cleaned my flat. No, you're just feeling good. I was just having a nice day. The sun was shining, great. I decided after my Pilates that I wanted a white chocolate matcha from Blank Street. I thought about it the whole way there. I even thought about it in the session. I was like, when I finish, I'm going to have a white chocolate matcha. I get to the place, look at the menu, see that there's a new flavour in town, vanilla fudge. Instantly, I changed my mind. Forget I'd ever even wanted white chocolate. Ordered vanilla fudge. Didn't love it. Not going to lie. Did have to think, oh my God, should have ordered the white chocolate. Hopefully you guys can relate to this because I'm an absolute nightmare. Anyway, had it. Didn't love it. Thought, right, I probably should have got the white chocolate. But got about my day. And didn't overthink it. Kind of went in and just ordered like a normal, like a relatively normal person. It still took me like a little bit longer, but it wasn't stressful. And I think like generally, obviously that's a very like silly example, but generally I think when we feel confident in our lives, in ourselves, you trust yourself. I also think it happens when you're younger. Like when I was younger, my mother will tell you, I was very dead set on something. If I wanted something, that was it. You couldn't change my mind. And, I had the behavioural nursing because my tantrums were so bad. Like, there was no telling me, really. And I think that is because when you're younger, generally, you are just more confident. You're sure of yourself. You don't see kids really overthinking their decisions. They don't want to eat something or they want to do something and kind of that's it. They don't overthink it. Obviously, this is just my take on it. But I do definitely realise that if you feel good, you feel better about your decisions, and it's because you're trusting yourself more. So we all know, I've been honest with you, that I have generally been feeling like a little bit lost, a little bit stuck at the minute. And that's why I'm really trying to lean back into the confidence more. because it's draining. And yeah, basically, because my therapist told me last week, she was like, you don't trust yourself and your decisions. And I was like, I actually don't. Do you know, sometimes as well, I've even caught myself going on Pinterest more. Like, if I like an outfit or if I like something clothes-wise now, sometimes rather than just buying it, I'll type that item into Pinterest if it's something like a little bit different. And like, Pinterest is great and it's really good to look for inspo and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, why can't I just buy the thing and be confident in myself that I know that I can wear that, I'll find something that makes it work, you know, like I used to. Why am I now even like double checking myself on a clothing item and trying to see what goes with it? I never used to be that person. I always just used to be somebody that just wears wherever I want, you know, kind of feel like I know my shape and what suits me and just roll with it. And then sometimes, like I said, yeah, even lately I've been catching myself doing that. I'm like, why am I doing that? If I want to buy a pair of orange trousers, I'm going to buy them. I mean, to be fair, I still did buy them. Stay tuned for when I'm wearing them soon. But yeah, I've just found myself second guessing myself a lot lately. So here are some signs that you can look out for to see if you are not trusting yourself and if you need to make a couple of changes. First one, people pleasing. Constantly prioritising others' needs and opinions over your own, often at the expense of your well-being or values. Definitely. I think that happens a lot with people, and that definitely leaves you feeling drained. Like, if you've got a decision that you don't want to go somewhere, and you know that if you go to this certain restaurant or bar, wherever, you know that you are not going to enjoy it, but you get talked into it and you go, and then you convince yourself that, you know, maybe it's you, maybe you're wrong. That's what I do sometimes. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe this is just all in your head. And then you do the thing to keep somebody else happy and you realise, oh, it wasn't in my head at all. I know that I don't enjoy this type of situation, so why am I putting myself through it? So that's a good one to catch yourself on. Second guessing, regularly questioning your decisions, judgments and abilities, leading to indecisiveness and procrastination. Trigger word for me. Biggest procrastinator on earth. Avoiding risks, shying away from new experiences, challenges or opportunities due to a fear of failure or the unknown. That is anxiety. Anxiety will really get you not risk-taking. Anxiety wants to keep you in the close, safe confinement of your home. It wants to keep you in those four walls and it doesn't want you to do anything. Don't listen to your anxiety. Seeking constant reassurance. This has got to be one of the easiest ones, like the easiest tells. If you can't make a decision without asking somebody else, and obviously I think it's really good to speak to your friends about stuff, your family, and get other people's opinions, like absolutely. But if you really can't make a decision over like the most menial, hopefully that's the word, of things, like my mother might as well be on my hotline. If I'm like feeling down and stuff, I'm ringing up for like anything. What time do you think I should book this now? What shall I do this for? That is just silly. Like, why am I second guessing myself? You just gotta know what you can do, believe in yourself and trust yourself enough and just make the decision. Not acting according to your values. Consistently making choices or engaging in behaviours that contradict your core beliefs or values. Do you know, I dated a guy once and he gave me the best piece of advice. This guy, right, he was like a little bit older than me, not a crazy gap or anything, but I think because I met him when I was 25. So say at that point he was like 33, I think. I think that gap, like when I look back the difference in me now to when I was 25, I am so different. And I just remember when I met him, I just always thought he was so wise. And even up until like maybe even a couple of years ago, like I would still message him for like random advice, like about guys and stuff, because he's a man. And I just felt like he used to give me loads of wisdom. And I went to him once with a problem, which, by the way, how lucky is it if you can find somebody that you've dated and you kind of know you're not going to be boyfriend, girlfriend, and there's like no hard feelings with it? That's actually such a rare thing. And I actually don't have it with many people, if any others. I mean, I can't think off the top of my head quickly, but it's so nice. Anyway, I remember messaging him for advice, and he told me something similar, and this like jogged my memory. If you do something or make a decision that goes against your morals and values, it's just going to make you feel really bad about yourself. I mean, something along those lines, guys. I realise now that doesn't sound very profound, but at the time I remember it being like something I hadn't heard before. But obviously you get the gist of it. If you are making a decision and doing something that you've got a core belief and value that you don't agree with, like say your core belief is cheating is horrible, it's awful, nobody should do it. It means you don't have a person, all cheaters should die alone. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, say you've got a very, very strong feeling towards that, and then you catch yourself messaging somebody or giving somebody a number behind your partner's back, or, kissing a colleague at the Christmas party, like wherever. That is going to make you feel so low and so bad about yourself. And then in turn, you're not going to trust yourself even. The relationship you have with yourself is still a relationship, innit? You've got to, only now I'm thinking about it this way, you've got to build that relationship with yourself, and you've got to build trust with yourself. Grace Beverly spoke about this before on a podcast I listened to of hers. She said, like, if you consistently don't show up for yourself, then that has a really bad effect on you. Like, say you make a plan to wake up at 7 a.m. every morning and go for a run or wherever, and you don't do that, you're letting yourself down. And then I think in turn, obviously then you're going to stop trusting yourself, aren't you? I find it so interesting. It's just really important to show up for yourself as you would for a partner. Because if your partner kept letting you down, then you wouldn't trust them, would you? If your partner said, I'm going to meet you at 7 every morning and get you a coffee, and then they didn't, you're not going to like them, are you? So don't do it to yourself. Okay, sorry, went way off on a tangent then. Low self-esteem, that's another sign, which obviously we've spoken about. Difficulty expressing emotions. If you struggle to open up or express your feelings, possibly because you're not comfortable being vulnerable. I have come to learn that there is nothing hotter or more badass in 2025 than telling people how you feel. This is something I've learned as I've gotten older. It's hot and it's sexy to tell somebody confidently how you feel and if what they're doing pisses you off. I think in my 20s, I really tried to be maybe a bit more of a cool girl, or, didn't want to seem vulnerable at all. And now I look back and I'm like, I thought that came across as so confident. It probably just came across as cold, to be honest. I definitely got told that, like, in relationships. But now I look back and I can see that actually I was doing that from such an insecure place, because it sounds confident to just ignore somebody. If they do something that you don't agree with, to not tell them and to just like give them the silent treatment, or, to stop talking to them or whatever. I don't even care. I'm just going to not mention. I'm just going to get with somebody else. Or, whatever. That is much more insecure than messaging somebody. Like, how much balls have you actually got to have to message somebody and say, I don't like when you do that? And somewhere along the lines, that's been blurred, if you're a woman, as being called needy. It's not needy. It's simply saying your needs and what you want from somebody, and you need to express that, because if they can't meet them, then you can make a decision to leave them. So I'm all for expressing your emotions now. I think, to be fair, one of the easiest places to follow or find or spot your intuition is when you're in a relationship, like with a partner. Your body just knows. I swear to God, your body knows when somebody's not right for you. Your vagina can't lie. It physically can't lie. And I know that you know what I'm talking about. Your body knows before your mind half the time, I swear. Because we're built for it. Like, anxiety is meant to be like a saviour, and it's from, going back to when we were in the caves and spotting danger, and it's for survival. So if you go on a date with somebody and you get a really bad feeling about them, trust that 100%. Like I said, the story the other week where my ex asked me to move in with him. Although, to be fair, right, he didn't fully ask me. He said to me on the tube, oh, wouldn't you just move in with me? Like, I think my flat contract was ending or whatever. Wouldn't you just move in with me? Firstly, that's not how you ask somebody. I hadn't lived with anybody at the time. I'm a romantic. And if you're with me in a relationship, you should know this about me. And, you would know because I would probably have told you. So asking me that question on a tube is not going to ride with me. I need to be asked properly, which I was eventually. When I actually did move in with a partner, he asked me, like, properly. It was nice. And it felt like a big thing. And that's what I like. Like, I remember the day. But when this person asked me, apart from the fact, like, the way that he asked me, I just felt it instantly in my stomach. Like, I could physically feel my body saying, no, you can't move in with him. This isn't right. And I love having those strong feelings. I'm so grateful for the body when it gives me those feelings, because I never doubt it. Your mind is a very confusing place, and I doubt that a lot, which is obviously what I'm trying to get into. But if you are lucky enough to have that physical sensation with somebody, nothing better. It's also like if you feel like you should avoid a certain area when you walk in, sometimes we just get a feeling that like something's not right and you shouldn't do it. And I just think that's amazing. I find it so fascinating. Also, another one is, which I've experienced, if you hang out with somebody, a friend, family, boyfriend, girlfriend, wherever, and then after that meeting you feel very drained, that's also a physical sign that you probably shouldn't be around that person. I had this with a friend, and after every time that we, hang out wherever, I felt drained, and I was also very quiet. Sometimes I'd even be quiet with her because I just felt like she drained my energy, and it was like quite negative. I felt like the conversation and stuff was very negative and bitchy, and I didn't like it. And I would sometimes, not all the time, and that's when it gets confusing. Like, I don't want to badmouth it because we were friends and there were times like that I didn't feel like that, but most of the time I felt like drained after it. And that's a physical sign that you're with the wrong person, or you're hanging out with the wrong person. But I think a comforting thing to think, just to wrap this up, is there's no real wrong decisions, because ultimately whatever decision you make, it, hops you on to the next stepping stone of life. And what film do I always reference? I haven't referenced it for a while. It's Sliding Doors. You make one decision and maybe it doesn't work out like you thought, but it's put you on, the next step for something else to happen. And I always do believe that. Apart from when it comes to food choices, because there's nothing worse than food envy. If I am sat at a restaurant and I've ordered something, and for me, the turmoil of the food order will go back and forth in my head until we've both got our meals in front of us and I've taken a bite and I'm happy. If I take a bite of something and I don't like it, and you are sat next to me with a delicious succulent meal that I've had a whiff of and maybe even a taste, and God forbid if it tastes better than mine, that's a wrong decision, and that arguably is harder to live with than if you make a wrong life decision. But yeah, I did see a quote about it, which I also enjoyed, and it said, "Things usually happen the way they're supposed to. Oftentimes, rejection is redirection. Closed doors are protecting you from what's lurking around the corner. Plans fall through because better things are coming in. The wrong people pass by because the right ones are moving closer." Adopting this mindset will set you free. It will liberate you from living in the past and rescue you from ruminating over all the things that didn't happen the way you hoped they would. Remember, my friend, things usually happen exactly the way they're supposed to. So there you are, guys. Hopefully that is helpful for you and for me. Got to just trust yourself. I think it's very important. Please, if you've got any stories, any comments, if you can relate, comment below. Come and chat to us in the DMs. I'm at Sadie Maltby at Love What Luck. Or if you've got a story to send, or you just want to chat, then please email me, sadie@lovewhatluck.com, because we'd love to hear from you. And please, guys, remember, if you're watching on YouTube, to subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, please follow. And please give me a little review, a little 5-star review. My goal is 200 reviews. We're on 194. I need 6 more reviews to meet a goal. And it would just be lovely if I could actually achieve that. So help a gal out. Oh my God, I was home, wasn't I, last week, and I bought my nephews a hamster. I have never been more excited about something. This all started when I was feeling a little bit lonely one night, and I thought, I think I need a pet, because obviously they keep you company. And then the reality of my life hit me, and I was like, I can't have a pet. I can't handle the responsibility. I'm not year enough. I've got nobody here to, pass a pet on. But what pet I really landed on wanting was a hamster. And I don't know if it was a bit of like healing. No, what do they call it? Not healing childhood trauma with a hamster. What do they call it? Healing my inner child. Is it? Or like making my inner child happy, because I used to have hamsters when I was younger, and I had my first one. We called him Mostyn, which is such a random name. I think my father came up with it. But he was the apple of my eye. I absolutely loved and adored him so much that after he passed away, we buried him in the garden, and I had like another 3 or 4 hamsters, and I named them all Mostyn because I just wanted him again. None of them were ever as nice. Like, if you've had a hamster, you'll know that if you have a lovely one, they can be your best friends. He used to sit in my father's shirt pocket. We used to pull him out every night and play with him, get him in his little exercise ball. Like, we loved him. Every other one I had after that were very nasty, and they didn't like petting. I did drop a couple of them, so that probably didn't help. But that's a different kettle of fish. Anyway, I really wanted to buy myself a hamster. I even had a picture of me holding the hamster in my diary. I was reading up my diaries last week. There's a picture of me with a hamster. It died on Valentine's Day. Traumatic. And I wrote this thing saying like, R.I.P. You'll always be in my heart. And turns out he is always in my heart. Like, that actually wasn't me being dramatic. It was true, because here I am 22 years later, still talking about him. Anyway, I'm an auntie. I'm sure you know. I've got 2 lovely nephews. And the best thing about being an auntie is wanting something, being able to relive parts of your childhood with somebody without the responsibility. And I can't lie, I did plant the seed with a hamster. I planted it with my nephews. I planted it with my sister. And I just sat back and watered it occasionally and waited for it to grow. And lo and behold, a week later, I was in Pets at Home. I was back in Wales. We went out for a little day. We were in the hamster aisle. My mother was like, oh, you can't have a hamster. Was then like looking at leashes that she'd found online. Oh my God, look at this. You can buy a little walking lead for them and a and a top hat and dicky bow. I was like, it's too far. Anyway, I bought him a little hamster, a little dwarf one. He's friendly. He goes in your pocket. He's so cute. And it's the highlight of my week, honestly. It made me so happy. I miss him already. We called him Noman because my nephew's called Noah and Roman. So they intertwined the names. And yeah, little Nomi. I'm having pictures of him every night. I feel like he's my new nephew. Definitely a highlight. Right, I've got a couple of stories for us to read through. Here we go. I would always complain about my girlfriend and how annoying she was. Then when my friends took me places, I'd find myself looking at and flirting with other girls. It took her finding out for me to understand I'd fallen out of love. That was a tough read. That last line, that's not welcome you. You have no place in this podcast with that attitude. It took you actually not flirting with girls. That's not what took you to realise. It took your girlfriend finding out that you were flirting with other girls. That's what did it. And that's how you knew that you didn't love her anymore. Okay. Truly, I have no words. Another one. Moving swiftly on. I'm falling out of love with my boyfriend. I just can't stand him anymore. I think that means you've already fallen out of love with him. If you can't stand him, he's shallow, uncultured and lazy, while I'm the complete opposite. We no longer want to do the same things together, and since I started to discover the person he really is, I no longer want to be around him. It feels horrible. Wow, well, I'm pretty sure it's going to feel horrible for him too, but my advice there would be to end it. Like, there's no need to be following your intuition or double guess your thoughts there. If you can't stand your boyfriend, it is time to leave. And it's better for the both of you. Oh, guys, also, I've got an update on the girl from TikTok. I hope she doesn't mind me sharing. Not she's ever going to find out. But last week I told you the story about a girl that found messages on her boyfriend's phone and found out that he was having an affair with a colleague. And they were mocking her, which I just think is like oh my God, the most hurtful part. They were like mocking her how she'd never know because she worked there as well. I actually never fact checked that, but they were mocking her basically like, oh, she's got no idea. She doesn't know. And, you know, obviously she did the timeline of like he was messaging her like when they were together, like literally physically together and stuff. Awful. Anyway, she told another story this week that coming up to Christmas, the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend, was asking her what type of jewellery brand is good because he wants to buy something for his mother. And she kind of thought, this is cute, like he's probably digging to buy me a nice present. And she was like, he should have already realised because I've told him before that I love the Monica Vinader jewellery brand. But she was like, wherever, maybe he's forgotten. So she's telling him. And then she said, like, Christmas time, she was expecting a present. Like, she was expecting jewellery. It's giving Love Actually. Emma Thompson, the most heartbreaking scene in the history of films. And anyway, Christmas morning, she didn't get jewellery. Comes to find out, because the girl that he was having the affair with had a boyfriend, and he found out and messaged her. And come to find out that her boyfriend had taken advice from her on what jewellery brand to go to, and then bought the affair partner a bangle from there. What an arsehole move. The audacity of people I can't even deal. Also, if I was the affair partner, and I know that this is toxic, but I wouldn't want a present also that the guy's girlfriend had picked out, even though he's having an affair with me. Like, no, I don't want any part in that for anyone. How heartbreaking and disgusting. Makes me sick to my stomach. Anyway, guys, I think I'll wrap it up. When this comes out, God willing, I'm going to be in Barcelona. First little trip of the year. Well, minus Scotland for New Year's, which is quite a slow start for me. First world problems, I know, but I'm very excited. I'm going with Abby, you know, who's been on the pod many times. It's her birthday, and we're going for a little girls' trip in the city. And I'm actually really excited. I'm excited to even, like, dress up and get myself ready to go out, and I just, you know, feel a little bit better about myself. I think that will help. I'm just excited to have a little Aperol spritz on my lips, a little bit of jambon. What do they call it? That Spanish ham, Sorrento ham. I absolutely love that, by the way. I'm so Nora-veggie. Like, I thought I was on, like, a slippery slope down. No, I'm down the slopes. Like, I'm off the Alps now. I'm in a different country. I'm gone. It's like I was never veggie. I never used to eat stuff, this type of ham and this type of meat, pre-veggie, because I was always so funny with it. And then it's like I didn't eat meat for 5 years, and all of a sudden I'm the biggest carnivore you'll ever meet. But yeah, I'm excited for a little bit of that ham. I just love it. I've got a pack in my fridge, if I'm honest. I like it to get by it from Marks and Spencer. Anyway, I am wrapping it up there. Please come and follow me on Instagram if you want to see what I get up to. I'm at Sadie Maltby at lovewhatluck. Come and chat to me, guys. Please send your stories to sadie@lovewhatluck.com. And yeah, please remember to follow. It really helps the podcast get out. And yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I'll speak to you next week.